Hello, welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's deep dive focuses on advanced English vocabulary. Practice our topic is 20 plus rarely used but powerful English words to elevate your vocabulary.
Welcome. Our mission today is, well, it's pretty straightforward, but I think quite profound. We're giving you, the listener, a kind of shortcut.
A shortcut to what exactly?
Not just to definitions, but to, let's say, sophisticated knowledge. We're extracting these linguistic powerhouses.
Powerhouses. I like that.
Yeah, words with immense specificity, words that can genuinely transform your professional writing, add real weight to speeches, or even just refine how you structure your own complex thoughts.
So it's about adding depth.
Exactly. Depth and undeniable refinement to your personal lexicon.
That sounds really motivating. You know, the idea of unlocking these hidden gems. English has this vast ocean of words, doesn't it?
Absolutely enormous.
But we tend to stick to a surprisingly small island of common terms in daily life.
We do. It's efficient, but sometimes limiting.
So this deep dive is about those words hiding in plain sight, chosen for their precision, their beauty sometimes, and, well, their ability to pack a punch beyond everyday language.
That's it. When you use one correctly, it signals a mastery of expression of context that simpler words just can't match.
It's like having the right tool for a very specific job.
Precisely. Think of them as precision instruments in your linguistic toolkit. We've organized, I think it's over 20 unique words grouped by theme.
Okay. How are we breaking them down?
We'll spend some good time on their specific meanings, look at valuable synonyms that helps understand the boundaries, you know?
Right. Knowing what it doesn't quite mean is useful too.
Exactly. And most importantly, we'll show how they work in context with detailed examples. So you get the why behind their power, not just the what.
Fantastic. Let's jump right in. Section 1, you said, is about the sensory and the ephemeral. Aesthetics, sound, time, that sort of thing.
That's right. Starting with transients, things that don't last. The first word is ephemeral.
Ephemeral.
Ephemeral. It means lasting for a very short time. Fleeting, transient.
Like its synonyms. Transitory, evanescent.
Yes, those capture impermanence too. But ephemeral often carries a more poetic quality. It's often used for things of great, but temporary beauty.
So it makes you pause and think about that shortness.
It almost compels you to, yeah. It frames the short-lived nature of something in a slightly philosophical way.
I think the best examples really focus on appreciating the moment because it won't last. Like cherry blossoms.
The classic example.
Perfect. Their delicate, short-lived nature, their ephemeral beauty is exactly why there's such a rush to see them.
The briefness forces us to cherish it.
It transforms. It didn't last long into something more profound, doesn't it?
It really does. And it's not just for natural beauty. You can use it for abstract things too, like enthusiasm.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Think about a sudden interest in a new hobby, knitting maybe, or indoor rock climbing.
Right, something you dive into intensely for 2 weeks.
And then it just vanishes. Poof. You describe that sudden, brief passion as ephemeral. It captures that intellectual or emotional impermanence really elegantly.
Does using ephemeral imply a certain delicacy or beauty that's lost? More so than just saying short-lived.
I think it often does, yes. It suggests something finer than, say, a brief traffic jam.
Okay, so maybe describing the ephemeral joy of a quick summer rain shower before the pavement dries.
Perfect example. It evokes that delicate, refreshing moment that evaporates too quickly. There's a sense of something precious being lost.
Got it. So moving from the visual and abstract to sound, you mentioned another word with that sense of delicate beauty.
Yes, mellifluous.
Mellifluous. And I know this one literally means flowing like honey, which is just a wonderful image.
That's the root, exactly. It describes a sound that's sweet, musical, pleasant to hear.
Synonyms like melodious, euphonious.
Dulcet, yes. They all point towards auditory pleasure. But mellifluous feels, well, richer. It emphasizes a sound that flows smoothly, almost seductively. It makes listening feel luxurious.
We hear it mostly for voices, right? Like a gifted singer whose mellifluous voice fills the concert hall.
That's a prime use case, definitely. Captivating an audience with the sheer sweetness and smooth flow.
It's more than just hitting the right notes.
Much more. But it's versatile. You could describe certain environmental sounds too.
Like what?
Imagine a really calm evening. Maybe the distant sound of wind chimes or a gentle brook. If the sound is smooth and pleasant, creating tranquility, you could call it mellifluous.
So it elevates the sound beyond just nice or pretty.
Precisely. And it's brilliant for describing spoken language, too. Think of a great orator.
Okay.
Describing their delivery as mellifluous highlights that rhythmic, smooth quality. It suggests the sound of their words is appealing, making even complex ideas easier to listen to. It's about the music of the language.
The music of language. I like that. Now, speaking of specific sensory experiences, you mentioned a word that word lovers adore for its precision.
Ah, yes. Petrichor.
Petrichor. This is one you rarely hear spoken, but when you read it, you instantly know that smell.
That's the magic of specificity, isn't it? Petrichor is that pleasant, earthy scent that comes with the first rain after a long, warm, dry spell.
It's so specific. Does it even have synonyms?
Not really, not single-word ones. The closest are technical descriptions like geosmin aroma or just, that earthy smell after rain.
Geosmin? Tell us
Yeah.
a bit about the science. I think that grounding makes the word even more interesting.
Absolutely. The word itself blends Greek, petra for stone, and ichor, the mythical blood of the gods.
Wow.
But the smell, it's a mix. Plant oils released during dry periods, plus a chemical called geosmin produced by soil bacteria, specifically actinobacteria.
Okay.
When rain hits the dry ground, it traps tiny air bubbles containing these compounds. These bubbles then burst upwards as aerosols.
Carrying the smell right to us.
Exactly. It's literally the smell of the earth coming back to life based on real chemistry.
That's fantastic. So using the word petrichor doesn't just name a smell. It evokes that whole refreshing post-rain experience. It connects you to nature's cycles.
It really does, and it feels invigorating, doesn't it? If you're writing, saying a character inhaled the fresh petrichor is incredibly evocative.
It adds such vivid realism. I can almost smell it now. Perfect for a scene after a heat wave breaks, or in a novel set during monsoon season.
Absolutely powerful and creative writing. Now, from that very specific earthy scent, let's shift to something much more abstract, almost heavenly,
Okay.
ethereal.
Ethereal. Right. Delicate light.
Extremely delicate light, often suggesting something too perfect for this world. It implies celestial, spiritual, almost otherworldly qualities. Synonyms might be heavenly, sublime, gossamer.
It suggests something barely tangible.
Exactly. Like it exists outside normal physical limits because it's so fine, so delicate.
The classic example is maybe a dancer.
Yes. A ballet dancer whose movements seem completely weightless. She floats across the stage. Her performance is ethereal. It stresses that supernatural lightness.
It's not just graceful, it's almost unreal.
Precisely. And it applies beautifully to landscapes, too. Think of misty mountains at dawn.
Oh, yes. That hazy, soft light.
That scene has an ethereal quality. It inspires awe, gives it a dreamlike, almost spiritual allure. It suggests beauty that's both fragile and transcendent.
And an art. If you describe a portrait capturing an ethereal beauty,
It suggests more than just physical appearance. It points towards a timeless, maybe angelic essence, a beauty that seems almost spiritual, not just skin deep.
which leads nicely into our next word, which you said is more grounded in the physical.
Yes, a contrast.
Ulchritude.
Pulchritude. It sounds very grand, almost imposing.
It does sound formal, doesn't it? And that's key. It's basically a very formal term for physical beauty, comeliness, attractiveness.
So why use it instead of just beauty? Is it mainly stylistic?
Largely, yes. In modern English, choosing pulchritude is a definite stylistic choice. It can sound academic, maybe a bit archaic, sometimes even slightly ironic depending on context.
Okay.
Historically, it was used to discuss high aesthetic appeal without sounding, common or overly casual. So you might find it in older literature. Describing a heroine whose striking pulchritude made her the center of attention at society events.
Exactly. It elevates the description. And like ethereal, it can apply to nature, too. The visual pulchritude of a stunning landscape, like fields of wildflowers that inspire artists.
But you mentioned its use in contrasting inner and outer qualities.
Yes, that's a very useful application. You can set up the physical aspect formally, for instance. Despite her widely acclaimed pulchritude, it was her sharp intellect that truly defined her.
Ah, I see. It frames the physical beauty in a specific, slightly detached way, allowing you to then pivot to other qualities. Creates depth.
Precisely. It sets up that contrast very effectively.
That framing leads us perfectly into section 2 then. Moving from the sensory and external to the inner landscape emotions, mental states, and starting with the limits of language itself.
Exactly. With ineffable.
Ineffable, meaning unutterable, indescribable.
Basically, yes. It describes concepts, experiences, feelings that are just too great, too profound, maybe too extreme to be captured properly in words.
So it's for when language genuinely fails us.
Right, when the experience transcends our normal ability to describe it.
Like watching the aurora borealis, that overwhelming, complex beauty, it leaves you speechless.
A perfect example. The sheer scale and wonder are ineffable. If you can't adequately describe something after trying for 10 minutes, it might just be ineffable.
It seems to carry a lot of weight in spiritual contexts, too.
It does. Think about experiencing an ineffable sense of peace during deep meditation, or perhaps standing in an ancient, silent cathedral. It points to a profound internal state beyond easy articulation.
If you try to explain it, the words just fall short.
They always do. But we need to be careful not to overuse it, right? If a meal was just really, really good, calling it ineffable might be hyperbole.
Good point. It's not just for things that are hard to describe.
Exactly. Sublime or exquisite might work for a fantastic meal. Ineffable is usually reserved for the truly profound experiences touching on existential meaning, overwhelming beauty, deep spiritual connection, or even complex relationships.
Like the deep bond between twins, maybe. Forged through years of unspoken understanding.
That could certainly be described as ineffable. Their connection defies simple explanation.
Okay. From the indescribable to something very describable but intense. Euphoria.
Euphoria, a state of intense excitement and happiness. Think elation, ecstasy, rapture, bliss. Those are its neighbors.
What makes it different from just being really happy?
It's the intensity, and often there's a sense of it being a peak state, maybe unexpected or temporary. It's happiness turned up to 11.
It captures collective highs really well, like the feeling in a stadium when the home team scores the winning goal in the last minute.
Absolutely, that palpable euphoria sweeping through the crowd, or a massive concert when the energy is just electric.
That shared excitement is intense, infectious.
And think of personal achievements too. Winning a major award after years of hard work, that rush is genuine euphoria.
It feels almost chemically induced sometimes.
It often is, but it doesn't have to be loud or public. An author finally finishing a huge novel after years of solitary effort might feel a deep, quiet euphoria. Less visible, but just as intense.
Right. Now, sometimes after intense effort, or maybe just on a lazy day, you get the opposite feeling. A kind of pleasant tiredness.
Yes. Which brings us to languor.
Languor. It sounds slow and soft.
It describes a state of tiredness or inertia, but crucially, usually a pleasant or listless kind. Think lethargy, lassitude, torpor, but without the negative drag of illness or depression.
So that lovely feeling after a long hike. When you're physically tired, but it feels good just to sit and do nothing.
That's a perfect image of languor, that relaxing fatigue where rest feels earned and wonderful. Lounging by a lake, feeling that pleasant weariness settle in.
It can be environmental too, can it? Like sticky summer heat.
Definitely. Oppressive summer heat often induces a noticeable languor across a whole town. The heavy air makes everything feel slow, sluggish.
But I like the idea of embracing it too.
Yes, that's a key nuance. You can choose to embrace the languor of a quiet Sunday afternoon, consciously deciding to drift, relax, without an agenda. It reframes being lazy into something positive, a state of welcome repose.
Elevating downtime. I like it. Okay, opposite end of the emotional spectrum now. From pleasant rest to deep sadness.
To profound sadness, yes. Lugubrious.
Lugubrious. Even the word itself sounds heavy. Mournful.
It does, doesn't it? It describes something mournful, dismal, gloomy. Think somber, doleful, melancholy, even funereal.
But there's a specific twist to it, isn't there? It's not just sad.
Absolutely critical distinction. Lugubrious implies that the sadness, the gloominess is somehow exaggerated, theatrical, or perhaps overly demonstrative.
So it's about the display of sadness being excessive.
Exactly. If someone is just quietly sad, they're sad. If they're making a big, dramatic show of their sorrow, sighing loudly, drooping theatrically, maybe wallowing in it, it's being lugubrious. It often suggests the display is maybe a bit affected or self-pitying.
Okay, so it can apply to things too, like somber music at a funeral.
Yes, if the music is intentionally creating a heavy, mournful, perhaps even slightly over-the-top atmosphere, you could call it lugubrious.
And because of that theatrical element, it lends itself to irony.
Perfectly. Describing a teenager's lugubrious sigh because they can't go out to wet, the exaggeration creates humor. Or in literary analysis, calling a novel's tone lugubrious might highlight its pervasive, perhaps oppressively bleak atmosphere, capturing the despair of the setting.
Got it. That wraps up the interstates. Now, section 3, action, disruption, adaptation, the human element in the world. starting with happy accidents.
Yes, a lovely concept. Serendipity.
Serendipity, finding something good without looking for it.
Exactly. The occurrence of events by chance in a happy, beneficial way. Fortuity, a happy accident, maybe even providence if you lean that way.
We see small examples all the time. Finding a forgotten $20 bill in an old coat pocket. Pure serendipity.
Or bumping into an old friend you haven't seen in years, completely by chance, and it rekindles the friendship.
Or that chance meeting that leads to a huge opportunity, a job, a relationship.
Those are great examples. But where the word really shines is in innovation.
How so?
Think of scientific breakthroughs. Louis Pasteur's famous line, "Chance favors the prepared mind." Many huge discoveries happen through serendipity. An experiment goes wrong.
But the scientist notices something unexpected and useful in the mistake.
Precisely. They recognize the potential in the accident. Penicillin is the classic story of serendipity in science.
So it's not just dumb luck. It's luck combined with awareness.
Absolutely. Using serendipity acknowledges the chance element, but also implies that the positive outcome was recognized and capitalized upon. It shows how unintended events can drive progress.
That's a great perspective. And when things go wrong, not in a happy way, we need to be
Resilient.
bouncing back.
Yes. The ability to withstand difficult conditions, or perhaps more importantly, to recover quickly from them. It implies toughness, robustness, but also adaptability.
It works on a large scale, like a community.
Definitely. A resilient community doesn't just rebuild after a natural disaster. They rebuild stronger, adapting to prevent future damage. They learn and bounce back better.
And on a personal level.
It illustrates that inner fortitude. Someone with a resilient spirit keeps going despite major setbacks. They don't just endure, they adapt, they learn, they find a way forward, often emerging stronger.
It's not just about being tough, but about being flexible too.
Exactly. And that's why it applies so well in biology and engineering too. A resilient plant thrives in harsh conditions. A resilient material withstands stress without breaking. It bridges physical, mental, and even systemic toughness.
Okay, next, a different kind of approach, one rooted in idealism, perhaps impractical idealism.
Yes, quixotic.
Don Quixote, tilting at windmills.
Entirely derived from him, quixotic means exceedingly idealistic, unrealistic, impractical, often tied to grand, romantic, or overly chivalrous pursuits that are, frankly, doomed.
So, like someone trying to single-handedly reform a deeply corrupt system with just good intentions.
That's a perfect example of a quixotic quest. Noble in aim, perhaps, but utterly impractical and unlikely to succeed.
It often describes artistic ambitions too, doesn't it? An artist with quixotic dreams of fame based on work that completely ignores commercial reality.
Yes, pursuing a vision that defies practicality. But is it always negative? Does it have any positive connotation?
That's the interesting nuance. A quixotic goal, while impractical, is often admired for its sheer nobility or passion. The intent might be pure, even if the execution is foolish.
And sometimes pursuing those impossible goals can actually spur innovation, right? Even if you don't reach the quixotic destination, the journey pushes boundaries.
It forces you to think differently, to try things no one else would. It can inspire, even in failure.
Exactly. Now, related it to challenging norms, but perhaps more aggressively.
Iconoclast.
An iconoclast, someone who attacks or critiques cherished beliefs, traditional institutions, established ways of doing things. A maverick, a dissenter, maybe even a heretic in some contexts.
What makes an iconoclast different from just a critic?
Oh.
Or a cynic?
The key is in the original meaning, smashing icons, religious images. An iconoclast doesn't just disagree, they attack things that are widely revered, almost sacred, within a particular field or society.
So they're aiming at the foundations.
Precisely. A regular critic might say a specific policy is flawed. An iconoclast might argue the entire political system is corrupt and needs tearing down. They challenge the very idols of the establishment.
They're the revolutionaries. The ones who spark major shifts.
Often, yes. Think of an artist who rejects all traditional techniques and sparks a whole new movement. Or a thinker who questions deeply held scientific or philosophical beliefs.
Like Galileo challenging the geocentric model. He was a classic iconoclast.
Absolutely. They fundamentally redefine understanding by breaking cherished idols, often facing significant opposition in their time.
And to be an effective iconoclast, you probably need a sharp mind. Which brings us to...
Perspicacious.
Perspicacious, having keen insight, right?
Yes, ready insight, sharp understanding, being perceptive, discerning, sagacious. It implies an ability to see through complexity or deception.
So it's more than just being smart. It's about keen observation and understanding.
Exactly. It's not about raw processing power necessarily, but about insightful perception, seeing what others miss.
It fits perfectly in mystery stories. The perspicacious detective who notices the tiny, overlooked detail that cracks the case.
That's a classic use. It highlights astute observation and intuition.
And in business.
You might praise a leader's perspicacious analysis of market trends, seeing subtle shifts before anyone else, and making profitable decisions based on that insight.
It suggests a depth of understanding.
It does. And in education, it describes that student who doesn't just memorize facts, but grasps complex concepts intuitively, sees connections, asks insightful questions. They are perspicacious.
A great word for intellectual sharpness. Now, for the last one in this section, something much more dramatic.
Oh, yes. Highly specific and dramatic. Defenestration.
Defenestration. Literally throwing someone out of a window.
That's precisely it, the act of throwing someone or something out of a window.
That's extreme. Is it ever used seriously outside of, say, historical accounts?
Its main serious use is historical. The defenestrations of Prague are famous examples of events where political figures were literally thrown from windows, sparking major conflicts like the 30 Years' War. So it has heavy, dramatic, historical roots.
Okay, so mostly historical or metaphorical?
Mostly metaphorical today, yes. And often humorous because the literal meaning is so extreme.
Right. Like when your printer jams for the 5th time, you might jokingly contemplate its defenestration.
Exactly. That hyperbole provides comic relief. But metaphorically, it signifies a very sudden, forceful, and complete removal or dismissal.
So in business, if a board suddenly fires the CEO without warning.
You could describe it as the board's sudden defenestration of the CEO. It conveys that shock, the abruptness, the lack of ceremony. It's a metaphorical boot out the window.
Much stronger than just saying fired. Got it. Okay, final section. Section 4. Describing the abstract analysis critique. Starting with the perfect example of something.
Yes, quintessential.
Quintessential. Meaning the perfect, most typical example.
Exactly. Representing the most perfect or typical example of a quality or a class. Archetypal, exemplary, prototypical. It's the ultimate embodiment.
It acts like a powerful label. If you call the Eiffel Tower the quintessential symbol of Paris.
You're saying it captures the city's essence, its romance, history, style, more perfectly than anything else.
We use it for ideal traits, too. The quintessential diplomat is perfectly tactful, skilled, composed.
Or the quintessential English gentleman embodying politeness, reserve, maybe a stiff upper lip. It defines the perfect stereotype, in a way.
And culturally, like foods.
Right. Apple pie is the quintessential American dessert. Fish and chips is the quintessential British seaside meal. It defines the iconic standard, making the description far more potent than just typical.
Okay, from the ideal to subtle harm. Pernicious.
Pernicious. This describes something having a harmful effect, but specifically in a gradual, subtle, often unseen way. Insidious.
So the danger isn't obvious up front.
Exactly. It's deleterious, noxious, detrimental, but the key is the slow, creeping nature of the harm. It might not be apparent until significant damage is done.
This seems really relevant today, especially with things like misinformation.
A perfect application. The pernicious influence of conspiracy theory spreading online, slowly eroding trust and damaging social cohesion over time. The harm is gradual but deep.
It avoids describing immediate shocks. It's for long-term, creeping problems.
Yes, like the pernicious effects of smoking on health accumulating over years, or systemic issues, like the pernicious cycle of poverty trapping families for generations. The damage is structural, insidious.
It gives weight to those slow-burn threats that are easy to ignore in the short term.
It does. Now, back to sound, but the unpleasant kind. Cacophony.
Cacophony. If mellifluous flows like honey, this sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
Or worse, it means a harsh, discordant mixture of sounds, a racket, din, clamor, dissonance, auditory chaos, sounds clashing horribly.
It paints a picture of urban noise really well. The cacophony of a busy street horns, sirens, construction.
Instantly evokes that stressful, overwhelming soundscape. Or think of verbal disorder.
Like a heated argument where everyone is shouting over each other.
Yes, a cacophony of angry voices making it impossible to understand anyone. It's the opposite of harmony. An orchestra tuning up creates a brief cacophony before they unite in beautiful music.
A great contrast. Okay, now for something promising. A cure for all ills.
Elixir.
Elixir, like a magic potion.
Exactly. A magical or medicinal potion. Often implies a cure-all, a panacea, something believed to fix everything or grant long life.
It immediately brings to mind myths and legends. The elixir of life, granting immortality, sought by alchemists.
That's its root. But we use it metaphorically all the time.
Like coffee in the morning?
For many people, absolutely, their morning elixir that revitalizes them. Or we might talk about a potential solution to a complex problem, a new policy hoped to be the elixir for economic woes.
It bridges that gap between ancient dreams and modern hopes. Scientists searching for anti-aging treatments are essentially looking for a scientific elixir.
It carries that weight of a profound solution or cure. Now let's talk about deliberately causing confusion.
Obfuscate.
To obfuscate.
Yeah.
To make something obscure, unclear, unintelligible. The key here is usually the deliberate intent to confuse or muddy the waters.
So it's not just being unclear by accident, it's intentional confusion.
Often, yes. Think of legal battles or political debates. A lawyer might obfuscate the facts with complicated jargon and irrelevant side issues to distract the jury.
Or politicians using vague language to obfuscate their real stance on a difficult issue.
Precisely. Evading clarity to avoid controversy. It's also great for critiquing bad communication.
Like confusing instruction manuals.
Exactly. Manuals that manage to obfuscate simple steps with overly technical or poorly structured language, they make easy things hard.
A very useful word for calling out deliberate lack of clarity. Okay, almost there. A word about words themselves.
Yes, a fun self-referential one. Sesquipedalian.
Sesquipedalian, an appropriately long word for.
Long words. Exactly. It describes words that are polysyllabic and very long. It can also describe a person who loves using long words, perhaps excessively. Long-winded, verbose.
It sounds slightly critical, like you're poking fun at someone's vocabulary.
It often carries that connotation, yes. You might describe an academic lecture as sesquipedalian if it was full of jargon that left students lost. It implies pretentiousness or a lack of clarity due to overly complex language.
So it highlights the tension between using precise, advanced words and actually communicating effectively.
Precisely. Sometimes simpler is better. A sesquipedalian style might impress some, but it can also alienate or confuse your audience. It raises questions about accessibility versus showing off.
Finding that balance is key. Okay, last word. A strong one for describing wickedness.
Yes, nefarious.
Nefarious. It sounds truly evil.
It implies a deep level of wickedness or villainy. Criminal, evil, iniquitous, heinous, depraved, those are its serious synonyms. It suggests actions or plans that are fundamentally wicked.
Perfect for describing villains in stories. The antagonist's nefarious plot to take over the world, perhaps.
Classic use. Or in crime reporting, uncovering the nefarious activities of a smuggling ring or a corrupt organization. It signals serious wrongdoing.
Does it often imply hidden evil?
It can, yes. Highlighting nefarious intentions that were hidden behind a charming or respectable facade adds a layer of deceit and makes the evil seem even more sinister.
Wow. Okay, what a journey. From the delicate beauty of ephemeral and mellifluous,
Through the disruptive energy of iconoclast and defenestration,
to the subtle danger of pernicious and the sharp insight of perspicacious. That's quite a toolkit we've assembled.
over 20 powerful linguistic instruments. And remember, these are more than just fancy synonyms. They offer precision, nuance, and impact.
They let you say complex things concisely and effectively.
Exactly. By adding even a few of these to your active vocabulary, you gain the ability to articulate ideas that might have seemed fuzzy or required clumsy explanations before.
So the challenge now is to use them.
That's the crucial step. Knowledge is potential, application is power. We really encourage you, listening now, to try slipping just one of these words into your writing or conversation this week.
Maybe mellifluous to describe some music, or pernicious to critique a slow-growing problem. See how it feels, how it lands.
That's how they become truly yours. And as you start using them, perhaps mull over this question, thinking about all these words. What do you believe is the quintessential quality that separates simple literacy from true linguistic power?
Is it precision?
Yeah.
Elegance? Or maybe that ability to capture the ineffable?
Something to think about. What really elevates language mastery?
A fantastic question to end on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into powerful vocabulary.
We genuinely hope you feel better equipped now to express the complexities you see and feel in the world with greater clarity and impact.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.